Hello everyone, my name is Anton Oparin, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest secrets in guitar history, which is how Paul Gilbert changes strings when he plays his favorite licks and solos. To be honest, I think every single guitar player in the world was curious how Paul Gilbert does that at some point of his life. You know, many guitar players don't like Paul's music, they might say they even hate it. Many guitar players listen to different guitarists, musicians, they might like the sound of one guitar player or another, but all of them still want to have Paul Gilbert's technique and use it when they want. I've been asked so many times about his string changing technique, and even in my guitar academy people were asking me about his way of doing that, and that they see some certain movement of the thumb when he does that. Also, I've been asked so many times how I developed Paul Gilbert's technique, but actually this question is completely wrong because I use my own invented technique, which is totally different from Paul's technique. The principle of movements that I use is different, but this video will be about Paul's way of changing strings, not mine. Firstly, I will explain the principle that people tell me Paul uses. It's just what people think, and they say this. Let's take Paul's favorite lick on 2 strings, simple scale. So their theory is after Paul plays the last note on the thicker string, with downstroke he bends his thumb and first finger like this, so that pick goes out of the strings like this, and then he picks the higher string when he already straightened up his thumb. Okay, USA, let's take a few videos of Paul doing this thing from different years and look what happens there, and does he really do it? Of course, we could make it not really serious and think of a couple of ways how it might work, but we're professionals, that's why we'll try to dig a little deeper. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a video with a string change, as you can see.
Here we go.
So let's enlarge the picture a little bit so that we could see something, and also slow it down so that we could make a professional, high-quality analyzing work. And by the way, if you remember those movements of the thumb and the index finger, they're not small, okay? So, you know, if it actually happens when Paul changes strings, those movements, you know, it would be pretty hard to not notice that, okay? And we don't see a single thing. Yes, we don't. Well, if not here, let's watch, you know, another video. And yes, we can't see anything here as well. Oh, wait a second. I've seen something. I think I've seen something. Yes, I have clearly seen a movement of the thumb right here. He's playing C, D, E, F, E, D, C. So this is the lick. And as you can see, he is bending the thumb on the second note, which is D. So if I'm not mistaken, the theory was that after playing the last note on the string, Paul bends his thumb and index finger so that pick goes out of the strings, and then he straightens up his thumb and plays the high string with an upstroke. Bending the thumb might be made vertically, but also horizontally, and he does that horizontally because he wouldn't be able to play another note on the same string if the pick was above the strings at the moment when he bended the thumb. How can you continue playing fast on the same string if after bending the thumb, the pick went out of the strings? You can't, which means that this movement was made horizontally, and this is the fact.
To do that,
and here's the same thing, the bending of the thumb for the second note. Wow, here in this video he moves his thumb on each note, in and out, in and out, in and out. Look at this, in and out, in and out, in and out, even when he plays 5 notes on the low string. And here, for our surprise, he even straightens up his thumb for the last note on the string. Now, if you turn on your brain just for a second, it should tell you that having such unstable movement of thumb, when sometimes he doesn't do anything with it, sometimes he bends it in and out on each note, sometimes only on the second note, this should tell you that this movement has nothing to do with his string changing technique. Maybe it's some sort of a nervous tic or bad habit that he tried to get rid of from childhood, because when you mix movement of your hand and movement of your thumb, it may cause only problems, instability and desynchronization of your hands if you don't know when you can do it and when you shouldn't. Maybe he sometimes just fixes the uncomfortable position of the pick in his fingers, which I do sometimes too. Maybe he wants his higher note to sound a little more harsh, because he does use different angle of the pick to get that little more harsh sound. There might be a lot of different reasons. You might think that knowing that reason is important. No, it's not, and you will understand later why. But logically, mathematically and physically, this method of bending the thumb to change strings cannot do anything with his string changing technique. And yes, he really puts his hand different, sometimes straight, sometimes it looks into the guitar, and sometimes out of the guitar, and sometimes even holds his pick like this, which I don't really think that has any advantages, to only like showing off, like, look how I can, and isn't it cool? I think a guitar player like him, can afford himself to do any stuff like that anytime. So, and the biggest question when we see his movements and understand it mathematically and physically, and it's 100% surely has nothing to do with his unique string changing technique, because as you can see, it was always a little different, how does he do it if not with his thumb, and at the same time doesn't touch the higher string when he plays his changing string lick. But you, my dear viewer, even if you still don't believe me and you still think that maybe he does something with that thumb that we just couldn't understand yet, I will answer you. That means to me that there should be even more solid explanation to what actually happens, and I have the answer to that. And the real answer is, when changing strings, Paul Gilbert actually touches the string.
What?
what? What?
What?
What?
What?
What? What?
What?
What?
What?
What?
Whoa, wait a second, I will explain that. Yes, those movements of the thumb really ain't have anything to do with this way of changing strings, but even if we imagine this crazy, foolish idea that he actually used it, it doesn't help him to change the string cleanly if you think about the right hand's technique. Because if you listen carefully to absolutely any recording of Paul Gilbert when he starts to play his changing string lick faster than middle tempo, people with good hearing will notice something really, really interesting. Now I'm going to show you that, and I will let you know on the screen when he doesn't touch the string while playing slowly, and then when he starts playing faster, he starts touching that string. touches the string each time while making a change, and let me explain why majority of you didn't even notice that before. And the reason is his professional technique of muting strings with his left hand fingers. So when he goes up in scale and he plays his favorite lick, when he goes up, he mutes the higher string with the index finger. And when he goes back, he touches the fourth string. So he just mutes it with the tip of the index finger here. And if you have good hearing, you will hear that little extra noise from that note. It will sound like little accent from that muted string.
Power.
And especially you can hear that noise on the 12th fret, because 12th fret has that pretty powerful flageolet. And if you mute the string right here, if you play on the first string and you mute the second string, that flageolet you won't actually mute it. You will get that sound, and that's why it's easier to hear that extra noise when he plays on 12th fret.
And with some distortion. 1, 2, 3.
Paul is very good at choosing what he plays, and technically his technique of changing strings allows him to play almost anything. If you talk about scales, pentatonic scales, any of his own licks that he plays in his solos. But when I started learning different music and classical pieces, and I got to the point when I needed to skip strings, sometimes 1, 2, 3 or even 4 strings, and change strings not only to my index finger but also all others, when index finger just won't be able to mute everything by himself. So I need to invent my own absolutely different technique that would allow me to not touch any string in any situation. If I change string or I skip 1, 2, 3, 4 or even 5 strings, doesn't matter, and allow me to make it very, very clean. So, for example, if we take this Paul's lick for changing strings and play it both ways, you probably wouldn't even notice that too much unless they're played close to each other, so that you could actually notice that difference between them. So the difference between them sounds like this. And what about my technique and my way of doing this string change? I just won't tell you. Relax, that's a joke. Of course I will tell you that, but only in my Guitar Academy my students know how it works and how to develop it and all those mechanics of all techniques on the guitar. So you're welcome. You can find the link to my Guitar Academy below in the description. But anyway, even with my way of changing strings without touching a string, I actually still mute the strings with my index finger. And why? Because we're all humans, and when we're on stage, everything's sweaty, you know, we need to work with jumping, running, dancing, all that crazy stuff that we do on stage. We always have to have an extra support in case anything happens, like, you know, your hand is tired and you just touch strings. So I mute everything with my left hand too. Well, that's pretty much it. Hope it was an interesting video for all the guitarists out there. Please share this video with your friends, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to push a bell button so that you'd get the notifications about my new videos on this English channel. So have a nice day, see you soon in the new videos, and take care. Goodbye.
Hi everyone, Anton Oparin here. I've got great news for you. My team and I opened an innovative coaching platform. It is an international guitar school where I answer your questions every day, and also I record instructional videos where I explain in details of how to develop technique on the guitar that will allow you to play absolutely anything that you want. The links to our official website and also the video with more details about our guitar school are in the description below. Subscribe to my channel, push a like button here. Thanks for watching this video. See you in our secret chat.